This is the WWE NXT season premiere on CW Network October 1st, 2024 full show results video which takes place at Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. The show opens with Heartbreak Man Shawn Michaels making his entrance and getting on the mic. He welcomes us to the premiere of NXT on the CW network and talks up Chicago. He says you can't have a new NXT on a new network without new title belts, and he unveils new NXT and NXT Women's Championship belts, on black and white leather respectively. He's about to ask us one question, and Triple H interrupts with the "Are you ready?" and gets in the ring with his old buddy, surveying the crowd. Then we saw a match between Julia vs Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. We saw Julia and Perez exchange elbow strikes and Perez sends Julia out of the ring. Suicide dive by Perez and Perez goes up top, but Julia cuts her off and hits a top rope butterfly suplex hold and Perez kicks out. Julia and Perez trade submission attempts and Julia reverses the crossface into an STF. Perez breaks the hold by reaching the bottom rope, but Julia counters Pop Rock with a knee strike and Perez kicks out. Perez surprises Julia with Pop Rocks, but Julia instinctively rolls out of the ring to avoid getting pinned. Perez follows but her challenger lands a Northern Lights bomb on the floor and referee Daryl Sharma counting. Perez back inside and distracting Sharma. A woman in a hoodie appears to spike Julia with a DDT and throws her back inside, and then Roxanne Perez hits the Pop Rocks again, and this time she gets the pin, and defeated Julia by pinfall, and retained the NXT Women's Championship. Post-match, the Invader takes off their hood, it's Cora Jade and Perez smiles as Jade looks on. Back from commercial, Fraxium are playing video games and chatting and Axiom admonishes Nathan Frazer about losing his temper, and of course Frazer loses his temper and they lose the tag titles to A-Town Down Under in the video game. Nathan returns and admits he has a point and offers another game. Ava Raine is chatting with CM Punk backstage and reminds him of the importance of having a definitive winner tonight, and Punk says he understands and is going to call it down the middle. Lexus King and his dumb beard roll up and he wants to chat with Punk, and CM says he respected his father a lot, and Lexus says he's trying to be a better man than his father, and last week he had a chance to and lost the match when he decided to be the better man. Punk says he's got two wolves inside of him and he has to pick if he's gonna be the better man or if he's gonna embrace his genetics. Back from the commercial, Lola Vice and Jada Parker bicker over which of them needs the other, and Kalani Jordan rolls up to tell them they need each other and to save it for the ring. Then we saw a street fight between Wes Lee vs Zachary Wentz. We saw a back and forth action, and they used weapons, kendo sticks, and Wentz delivered some chair shots and then a side Russian leg sweep off the apron and through the plywood board. Then Zachary Wentz delivered coast to and he sets a chair up near the ropes and draws Lee up. Wes with strikes to cut him off, whip to the corner and drop kick him into a chair wedged in the turnbuckles. In the end, Zachary Wentz is conflicted but Wes isn't and hits him with a loaded fist to the gentleman's area. Off the second with the chain around his knees, and hits the chain-assisted Meteora, gets the pin, and Wesley defeated Zachary Wentz by pinfall. The Miz is in the ring to host Miz TV and he introduces his guests, NXT North American Champion Oba Femi and his challenger, Tony D'Angelo. He asks Tony what's going to make this match different from No Mercy, and the Don says he's always been the kind of guy to instill fear in others, but Oba dominates the game in every facet, and he felt his power, but he's using that fear as motivation to do the unthinkable and dethrone the ruler of NXT. Oba says Miz has been in the game long enough to tell when somebody doesn't believe what they're saying, and Tony doesn't believe a word he's saying. He says D'Angelo has achieved a lot but he has a ceiling, and the one thing he'll never be is North American Champion, because that's his title. Tony talks about growing up here in Chicago and he's got family in the back and in the crowd, and friends who believe and motivate him to be the man he is today. Femi fires back by pointing out that they can't fight for him, and next week it'll be just the two of them, and same as last time, he'll break him and beat him. D'Angelo says Oba is just a man, but Femi says he's inevitable, and Miz hypes the matchup as they stare each other down. We get a recap of the finish to the NXT Women's Championship match that opened the night. Cora Jade is interviewed backstage and she says everybody forgot about her, and Roxanne Perez rolls up to ask her what that was. Jade says she likes the woman Roxanne has become, and Perez says maybe a common enemy will draw them together. The next match happened between Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley and JC Jane, versus Jada Parker and Lola Vice, and Kalani Jordan joined the commentary desk. We saw that Fatal Influence in control, Vice shoves Henley away, lights her up with forearms and grabs a guillotine choke. Roll through, both women go for lariats at the same time, down and out, and Lola gets the path clear but Jada walks, leaving her high and dry. In the end, Lola Vice fends them both off, whirling kicks, but Jane rocks her with a rolling elbow. Tag to Fallon, and they delivered total elimination finisher, and Fatal Influence won the match by pinfall. Post-match, Fatal Influence called Kalani Jordan out and demand she prove what a fighting champion she is. Jordan says she was ready for this, but she didn't come to Chicago alone. It's WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill comes out, and they take it to Fatal Influence and lay them out and send them packing. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between All Ego Ethan Page versus Trick Williams for the NXT Championship, and CM Punk was the special guest referee in this match. We saw that Ethan Page delivered GTS on Trick Williams, and starring Punk, and goes for pin, but Trick Williams kicks out. He gets Williams up for Ego's edge, he slips out and gets tangled up with Punk briefly, and then Trick Williams delivered the trick shot finisher, and defeated Ethan Page by pinfall to become the new NXT champion. While Trick celebrates, All Ego eats a go to sleep from CM Punk and the show goes off the air.